Integrating S3 Media Vault with Amazon CloudFront is fairly simple. So on the S3 Media Vault settings page, on the lower half of the page, you see the settings for Amazon CloudFront. Now you don't have to use CloudFront. CloudFront is optional. You can deliver fast and secure video, audio, PDF, etc. using just Amazon S3. Only add CloudFront if you really want to speed up the loading of the files. Now, it's not like S3 is slow or anything, but with CloudFront, it can be more like turning a passenger plane, which is already super fast, into a jet plane. Your users can be anywhere in the world and it'll still deliver at the same speed, whereas if you use just S3, it'll be slightly faster for anybody close to where that bucket is located. So if you want universally fast speeds, then use CloudFront. Just note that there's a little bit added costs to using CloudFront than just S3. So unless you have people complaining that your videos are not loading fast or something like that, which is very unlikely because you're already using Amazon S3. So unless you have complaints, you don't need to use CloudFront at all for just delivering video, audio, and PDF. But if you want to do true streaming where the video streams in real time and it's not progressive download, then you need CloudFront. So if you need advanced features like true streaming videos and video and audio transcriptions, then you need to use CloudFront. You only really need two pieces of information from Amazon. That is the CloudFront public key and the CloudFront private key. So to get those, you would go to the same place where you went for Amazon S3 private and public key, and that is the AWS console. In this case, you would do a slightly different search on Google, or you should find the link somewhere on this page. Go to Google and do Amazon AWS console as the search, and you'll get the link. Click on that. When you get to the console page, on the right-hand top corner, click on My Account and then go to Security Credentials. On the next page, click on CloudFront Key Pairs. That section will expand. Click on Create New Pair. A little pop-up will show up. There it'll say you have successfully created a new key pair. Please download your files now. You will not be able to retrieve this data later. And even though on your screen you see two red arrows pointing to download private key file and download public key file, what you really need for S3 Media Vault is the contents of the private key file, but I'm telling you to download the public key file anyway for later use. It is not necessary for S3 Media Vault, but since this is the only time you get to download it, I'm showing you both of them as something you need to download. But what we really need is the private key file, which is a file with about 20 to 30 lines, as well as the access key, which is behind this pop-up, which I'll show you in a second. So download both the files. When you click on download private key file, it'll download a text file. Same thing with the download public key file. You only really need the private key file for the setup. So once you have completed the download of both those files, click on the close button, and the screen behind that will now show you the access key ID. So copy that. So that is your access key ID and the private key file that you copied. So locate that file, the private key file. It will have the extension .pem. Open that file with any text editor on your computer, like Windows. You could open it with Notepad. And inside you will see something like this. The first line will be begin RSA private key. And the very last line is end RSA private key. So copy the whole thing end to end, starting with the first hyphen till the very last hyphen. Copy the whole thing and go back to WordPress admin to the S3 Media Vault settings page, and the contents of the private key file, the .pem file, paste that into CloudFront private key into the big text area there, and the access key that you copied, paste that into the CloudFront access key field. Those are the only two pieces you need to create a new CloudFront distribution. Click Save Changes, and after it saves, the same page will reload. This time, click on the button Create New CloudFront Distribution, and a new CloudFront distribution will be created that is pointing to your Amazon S3 bucket. And this time you'll see that the CloudFront distribution URL field will be populated with something like d12345.cloudfront.net. And you may also see the CloudFront S3 region populate automatically. You don't need to touch that. It is self-populating and you're done with the CloudFront distribution. Going forward, when you're creating a new shortcode to display, say, a video or an audio, the only difference between before and now is that instead of picking the source as Amazon from the dropdown, you will pick CloudFront as the source. That's it. As far as creating the shortcode, nothing else changes